thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. That is right, you guys. Oh, yes. Today, son of a bitch, where did you go? There we go. 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 Thank you all for joining us. It is Monday, June 3rd, you guys. And today is National Egg Day, National Chocolate Macaroon Day, and National Repeat Day. Rico, what are you putting on repeat? Nothing? Okay. Well, thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look up above on your screen to see exactly where we live on the internet. And we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and on our very own website at www.highat9news.com. But kicking it off first, that's right, we have the dope dad himself, Mr. Rico Lamitte, the Quasimodo caretaker, and the fast exiter on Mondays. That's right, it is none other than the dope dad himself, Mr. Rico Lamitte. Look at that, bro. You got some claps, Rico.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you. And I know the mic didn't pick it up, but I'm all about repeating the Pete.
The three-peat?
If you repeat a Pete, it repeats.
What about Pete Moss?
No, I think the dad joke went over your head. Pete, repeat, get it?
I was with you, Rico.
Yeah, I bet. I bet you were, Brandon.
Dad's in the house. Give me a round of applause for that one.
Oh, boy.
Anyway.
Jeez Louise. Come on, Rico. Let's get to it. We got a lot to go through today.
I got some good news for everybody who missed Fox News networks and their old racist police reality show, Cops.
It's the greatest show ever.
Exactly. Now all you got to do is head over to Twitter and look up NYC Smoke Shop CCTV raids, and you'll be able to catch some of that old action and scratch that old itch with a quickness, thanks to New York City Mayor Eric Adams' Operation Padlock and Protect. A new era stop and frisk enforcement is officially here, where due process takes the backseat to over-aggressive police officers looking to act before any questions are ever even asked. Yay. A video that's been circulating on social media this weekend was obtained by independent New York news organization The City, captured a raid on Staten Island smoke shop that fell into the crosshairs of Operation Padlock and Protect. And after watching it, it ain't hard to see why folks are concerned about their rights being violated. Do we have access to the video? Can we run that? violations and personal rights, civil rights violations. Asking for a court order is not obstruction of justice, he said, adding that the shopkeeper was asserting his constitutional rights. This is restarting the war on drugs under the guise of civil process. Liz Garcia, a spokesperson for Mayor Eric Adams, told the city that we will examine this video in the course of the city's continuing review of inspection and enforcement. She defended the mayor's new enforcement initiative as one that would close down illegal cannabis and smoke shops to protect vulnerable New Yorkers from exposure to illegal cannabis and smoke shops and better support the legal cannabis market by allowing justice-impacted cannabis businesses owners to thrive. So how did we get here? The regulatory inspection process was outlined in 2021, state law legalizing cannabis use. A section of that law enshrines the right of individuals to refuse a regulatory inspection, though subjects them to a civil fine if they choose to do so. Once a regulatory inspection is refused, the Office of Cannabis Management, OCM, or its board must request a court order, the law says. Last May, Governor Hochul, expanded the state's enforcement powers from the 2021 law, empowering OCM and the Department of Taxation and Finance to enter the unlicensed cannabis establishments, seize products, and get a court order to padlock shops shut. But over the last year, legislators did little to curb the number of illegal stores from rising. I wonder why. The state agencies did not have the resources to inspect a significant number of unlicensed stores as they continued to proliferate throughout the city. And when products were seized from unlicensed cannabis shops, the stores often just reopened the next day. In April, she expanded the state's enforcement powers, again, this time authorizing local jurisdictions to conduct regulatory inspections, adding the manpower behind the state agencies. It also made it easier to padlock stores after one inspection rather than seeking a court order. Empowering by legislation, Adams last month formed a task force of NYPD officers, the Sheriff's Office, and the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection as a part of the enforcement effort. As of May 29th, the task force has completed 329 inspections, padlocked 224 stores, and issued 231 cease and desist orders, the mayor's office said. The move comes as a number of unlicensed shops in New York have exploded since legalization. Officials estimate 2,800 unlicensed shops in the city. By comparison, 58 legal shops within the 5 boroughs. But Adams says the involvement of police officers as part of regulatory inspections has already broadly drawn some worry from some city public defenders. We're concerned about the NYPD being the agency that's now conducting lockouts. More people will be arrested as a result and then subject to contact with the criminal legal system, says Jackie Gosdigian, supervising policy counsel with the Brooklyn Public Defenders. She does concede that the initiative has clearly begun to curb the number of unlicensed stores in the city. Some smoke shops have started keeping cannabis products off-site in case they're inspected, only bringing them to the counter after a customer asks for a specific product. Others have moved into delivery-only services. And some have decided to close altogether, saying it wasn't worth the risk to operate anymore. Staten Island incident that we showed today highlights how quickly an inspection can escalate from a regulatory matter into a criminal matter once the NYPD is involved. OCM is still completing its own inspections alongside local jurisdictions, does not have the power to arrest or charge shopkeepers who refuse access to back of a store. Joseph Bondi, a cannabis lawyer who represented some unlicensed shops in administrative hearings, said that Staten Island arrest is part of a longer pattern unfolding in these inspections. Lawyers like Bondi and Zissou argue that the new legislation does not erase the provision from the 2021 law that allows merchants to refuse an inspection and does not permit searches and seizures without warrant. Many of these merchants are having their rights violated, says Bondi, who serves as vice chair of the National Organization of Reform of Marijuana Laws. Despite legalization expanding the state's enforcement ability, it does not supersede the Constitution, and it certainly does not authorize someone to break into a closed store for the purpose of conducting the inspection that would trigger the seizure, end quote. Governor Hochul is from the governor's office directly. Governor Hochul fought for major legislation to shut down illicit cannabis shops that gives localities the enforcement tools needed while putting important guardrails in place to protect the rights of New Yorkers, end quote. The store clerk is scheduled to appear in criminal court on Staten Island next Friday. But what do you guys think? Will Governor Kathy Hochul and Mayor Eric Adams and their new Tough on Crime initiative put a sizable dent in the dumpster fire of illegal cannabis rollout that they themselves created? Or will it just lead to more friction between New York citizens and the enforcement agents tasked with quota-driven action? Let's talk about it. I'm Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for I9 News. I want to hear from you guys.
First of all, Rico, let's start off with the C word. Big thank you to the C word. He says in a super chat, he says, "Hey there, early risers. Don't forget to RSVP early for SF Hash Week." So thank you so much for that. The C word. That's such a
big
funny
shout
name.
out.
Such a funny name. But Rico, in regards to this, I don't understand how they're able to legally do this, because you're in the story, they're saying that the undercover agent asked if there was weed inside the store or whatever, and the store clerk says no, and then the cops, and then the stops.
So you guys have those stizzies.
Yeah,
you guys got those stizzies.
And then the cops come in. I don't understand how they're able to do this without having a controlled buy in place, because it's not illegal to possess these types of products. So therefore, it's only illegal to sell them.
It take it a step further. He just asked him if he got them stizzies, and dude says like, "No, we don't want those problems anymore." And then the cops just bum rushed him. Just came in the store.
So is this stop and frisk 2.0 or 4.20?
Yes, it is. And I've been telling everybody since that day. The same day that Eric Adams got on TV saying that he has a dream of, cannabis grows on the top of the skyline and all that other shit. The same exact
all those
day,
booth outdoor grows?
Yes, he opened up broken windows policies, which is the whole stop and frisk bullshit that Rudy Giuliani came up with to quote unquote clean up the city, and ended up with a bunch of black and brown folks in cuffs for no damn reason and just getting accosted at any time of the day. This is what's going on.
Fair enough. I'm shocked that they're able to do this, but at the same time, at the way that I see these prosecutorial offices in New York going after people, and I'm not just referring to the people that you're thinking of in your mind, I'm referring to a whole bunch of other hosts of instances that we have watched these New York prosecutors go against. I mean, even like that shop clerk that stabbed the guy in self-defense when he was getting beat up, they prosecuted him. There's a whole host of these things where we see these types of actions happen, and these this district attorney's office is just like a rogue agency, in my opinion.
I think it's they created a problem, and now they're going overboard with
they're creating more problems, trying to solve a problem. They're not even solving a problem, they're just creating more problems. One
of the issues I think it highlights is the fact that our police officers across the board in almost every city in the United States, they're militarized. They go do hundreds and hundreds of hours of how to take a guy down, how to disable somebody, how to shoot them. They're doing all these shooting trainings, and they're doing very, very little training in how to de-escalate situations. So if they came in and they had a little bit of training in how to assess somebody, how to do something other than take him down, point a gun to his head, and do something crazy, they could have heard him say, I don't want those problems assessed, that they got a pound of weed, and maybe this isn't the guy to make an example of. The only thing that leads me to think is that maybe there was something else, some other reason that they wanted to make an example of him. Maybe they know that there's sex trafficking, or he's selling Ozempic under the counter, or who knows what. It could be anything.
Selling Ozempic. You've been watching South Park, huh?
Jason's writing down the address.
Yeah. Everywhere.
So there's a couple things here. First of all, Jason, this has nothing to do with the judiciary. Hard stop, non-negotiable. This is law enforcement telling somebody that he is not able to exercise his constitutional rights and getting caught on video. It has nothing to do with
law enforcement takes their cues from the judiciary, though.
Nonsense.
I disagree.
No, let me get you back to 5th grade civics class. The legislative branch makes the laws, the executive branch enforces the laws, and the judicial branch interprets the laws. There's nothing you can say. Move on. This is law enforcement. This has nothing to do with the judiciary.
I'm buying that.
Branches, bro. Welcome to America.
I'm not buying that.
They're not taking
second Yarrow
from the judiciary. They're taking those officers are taking their cues from Mayor Adams had a big meeting with a whole bunch of cops and they got them all riled up and we're going to go crack down the governor and there's a problem and we're going to go crack some skulls. That's what happened. These guys are all riled up.
My point is, go ahead.
Here's the beauty of it. I have an idea. Why don't we act like, because we're New York, we're so big and badass that we don't need to take any cues from any other regulated markets that are more mature? Why don't we go out there and parade $100 million social equity funding mechanism that implodes? Why don't we go out and just get a handful of stores open in the first couple of years? Then why don't we go out and do the optics of enforcing against the bodegas? And while we're at it, why don't we go out and get our law enforcement officers videotape violating people's constitutional rights so we can spend more money on civil litigation and lawsuits later because we're the Big Apple.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
That's commercial.
Fair enough. But
have any of you ever been to New York or Boston and dealt with the cops there?
Yeah.
As somebody who has, none of this shit surprises me. They don't actually follow the laws. They do whatever they want. And I agree with Jamie. Said most likely they just got the mayor got the chiefs up, got them all riled. They'll literally go in and wreck shit. 200 false arrests and just to push for that one or two that they hit, let everybody else go and they'll just go bust them again in a week or two.
Yeah, Eric Adams, he was a stop and frisk cop in his prime as a police officer was the entire Giuliani stop and frisk era. Remember that. This is what he is most familiar with. This is the policing that he's most familiar with, and this has been a long time coming.
And it's the problem when you have people who come up through the ranks of law enforcement who continue to extend their public policy influence by segueing over into being a politician or a mayor because they have a certain set of lenses from decades of training that is near impossible to get rid of.
Mm-hmm. Well,
most of which for him was during an era of prohibition.
Yarrow, what I'm trying to say is that if cops don't have the support from the prosecutor's office to prosecute things, they generally don't go after things to make certain types of arrests.
That's 100% not true. They'll smash.
I totally disagree with that.
Make people's lives miserable, and whether the DA chooses to prosecute or not, it's another day in the field.
Cops gonna do what cops gonna do.
Oh boy, you guys. Oh boy. Well,
you didn't expect us to agree with you just because it's Monday.
No, first of all, I never expect you guys to agree with me. It's up to you if you can see the truth and the light. It's not for me to. You know what I'm saying?
It's so crazy to hear Jason being all about law and order as well.
I am all about law and order, bro. I don't know what you're talking about. I always have been about law and order.
Respect the judiciary. It is. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm. And on that, we're gonna go to a commercial. We're gonna be right back.
Oh man, that was weird. Hey, you America. Do I look like Sean Connery? Good morning, America. Saman Razani coming to you live from sunny Los Angeles, California with the one and only highest host, Mr. Jason Beck, smoking on the best weed in the world. Did you know that we have an audio-only version of our podcast? You can find it on Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. No excuses in 2024. If you haven't checked us out, check it out now. And also, check out what the Prophet's doing in 2024.
Checking how.
All right, and we're back. We're back, you guys.
Back like we left something. Up next, y'all know who it is. The highest Republican in every room, known for smoking the best weed in the world, and his unwavering support of the judicial system.
Yes, that's
Doing
right.
a great job out there in New York. Coming to the stage, Jason Beck.
It's Banana Republic in New York. But nonetheless, you guys, today my story is going to go all the way to Louisiana because the edible hemp industry is spared in Louisiana, though lawmakers add restrictions. A proposal to do away with edible hemp products in Louisiana has fizzled in the legislature, sparing an industry that has blossomed since belonged legislation legalized it 2 years ago. On the House floor on Friday, members attempted to find a happy medium on Senate Bill 237 by Senator Thomas Presley, Republican from Shiverport, which would have led to the demise of some 2,000 hemp-related businesses that have taken root in Louisiana since 2022. Representative Lori Shiegel, Republican from Meteor, offered a compromise amendments to the Presley bill that would have required all intoxicating ingredients be taken out of hemp products. Prevailing arguments were made in support of jobs and companies. The hemp industry was spawned in Louisiana. In a quote, "I know there are a lot of you in this room who smoke weed, who ingest weed," Representative Mandy Landry, Democrat from New Orleans, said in opposition to Shiegel's amendments. If you don't vote against this, I think you are being a huge hypocrite. The amendment failed 39 to 60, and Presley's bill foundered without being brought up for a House vote. Later Friday, on the Senate side, members approved House Bill 952 by Representative Dustin Miller, Democrat from Opelika, which would place several restrictions on the types of consumable products that can contain hemp and the amount per serving of THC, the same psychoactive compound found in marijuana that gets users high. Intoxicating hemp-infused beverages would no longer be served at bars and restaurants, and hemp gummies and other snacks would be limited to 5 milligrams of THC per serving, down from 8 milligrams. Hemp products have been readily available in Louisiana, but Senate amendments to Miller's bill would prohibit their sale at convenience stores and gas stations. They would still be available at truck stops, however, and the Senate approved the updated bill in a 37-1 vote. The House still needs to okay the senator's changes to Miller's proposal, but Presley doesn't intend to revive his bill before the legislative session ends at 6 p.m. on Monday. Calls for stricter regulation of hemp products came from the medical marijuana and alcoholic beverage sectors, which view the fledgling field as a competitor. State lawmakers unwillingly approved a bill in 2022 to allow the manufacturing and sale of hemp-derived products, and the author of the bill, then House Speaker Clay Schnecksender, a Republican from French Settlement, had incorrectly assured legislators there wouldn't be enough THC in hemp gummies, drinks, and other edibles to get anyone high, he says. Gaps in the legislation permitted lawmakers of hemp edibles to cram multiple servings into their products in order to pack more of a THC punch inside each container or package. And the hemp industry has also put its scientific expertise to use to make its products more desirable. Manufacturers have found a way to convert cannabidiol, aka CBD, a separate chemical found in hemp that doesn't produce a high, into THC extract using simple chemistry. I wouldn't say it's that simple, but whatever. They then concentrate it into drinks, gummies, and other edibles, you guys. Well, looks like the hemp industry got spared a little bit in Louisiana, and this is happening in states all across the country, and I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this. This is Jason Beck for the High at 9 News. What do y'all think?
Legalize weed, you don't have these problems.
I have an idea. I'm a politician, so why don't I say I'm doing something and maybe no one will notice that it might not totally make sense. Like, why don't I just say, okay, instead of 8 milligrams, you can have 5 milligrams. There, I've done something. Instead of at gas stations, you can only have it at truck stops. There, I've done something. This doesn't make any sense. I understand where someone's trying to go with this, but if you look at this is Swiss cheese policy.
Mm-hmm. It definitely is Swiss cheese policy. I could agree with that part, but you know, the hemp bros are going to be very, very happy. All the D9 sellers, all these. I mean, and for the hemp beverages, that's not a big deal going from 8 milligrams to 5 milligrams. Like it's.
Okay, so if I want to get to 16 milligrams, now I take 3 instead of 2. I mean, this is like the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And if they're talking about age restricted, how does that I don't understand. You're taking it out of gas stations, but not truck stops? I mean, for those of us on the West Coast, we don't even know the difference between a gas station and a truck stop. I couldn't win that if it was a Trivia Pursuit question.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Baby steps, Yarrow.
Do they have showers? That's a truck stop.
Oh, no.
I like my gas stations with showers in them, too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a truck stop.
Just remember, I guess, when you're in Louisiana, make sure you're claiming it's THCA.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Just saying.
Baby steps.
Oh, it's just
go
another
both
thing
ways,
where each
right?
state is individually going to do what they want, and who knows? And another example of we'll do it over here, but not over there. Are you paying attention to this? We can make this side happy with this part of it, and this side happy with that part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Look at me. I'm a politician.
Yep.
But they'll call it a victory, though, either way.
That's what I mean. It's a victory for this side and a victory for that side. He's winning on both sides. Or not winning at all.
Burn it down.
There we go.
I mean, it's just sad. We know that cannabinoids need to be regulated not according to what plant they came from, but what kind of, whether they get people loopy or not. We know that these products deserve to be laboratory tested and age restricted. And watching the way in which these state legislators fumble at trying to solve for that is painful.
Fair enough.
Well, that's the hardest part, is that you've got a bunch of people legislating stuff that they really don't know that much about. And their motivation isn't always pure. I mean, that's laughable to say, but they're not sitting there trying to legislate in a way that makes sense. They're trying to make everybody happy so that they don't lose votes. So they've got the wrong motivation in the first place.
Fair enough.
Basically giving tenants or
Fair enough. And on that, we're going to keep this train rolling. We're going to roll right on in to Mr. Yarrow Kubrin. But first of all, I want to let you know I am going to be leaving in just a second. And Mathieu St. Germain is going to be taking over the wheel and steering the rest of the show, you guys.
Get trippy.
Yes.
Oh, dear.
Trippy.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, so just to give you guys a heads up. But yes, that's right. Coming up next, it is the Sebastopol sage, Mr. Yarrow Kubrin. He does real estate, cannabis, and every once in a while when people in weed have some money, he gets to do some cannabis real estate too. That's right. There's none other than Mr. Yarrow Kubrin.
I've been on this show since August, and now finally on June 3rd, I get my wish, which is I scared Jason off of his own show.
Never. Not a chance in hell. The only reason that I'm doing this is because I have to be judging the Emerald Cup flower competition, Yarrow.
Oh, I have to judge too, but it didn't make me
That's right.
scared to participate in today's
but you're
entire
not a
show.
flower judge, bro. You're a hardware judge. He's a vape cart judge, you guys. I call it a hardware judge.
The hazing continues.
Yes.
This is Yarrow Kubrin, Monday morning. Jason, we got your show. It'll be in good hands with Mathieu St. Germain
Thank
as
you,
MC.
guys.
So, without further ado, Monday, June 3rd, 9:30 a.m. Pacific time, Yarrow Kubrin, High at 9 News. My article is about Trulieve. Trulieve opens its 200th dispensary as world's largest cannabis retailer. The Brooksville, Florida retail facility, which will have a grand opening celebration June 4th, is also the company's 138th store in the Sunshine State. Trulieve Cannabis Company, a leading and top-performing cannabis company in the U.S., announced the opening of a new medical cannabis dispensary in Brooksville, Florida, marking the company's 200th dispensary in the United States. A grand opening celebration will be held at 9 a.m. on June 14th. Ribbon cutting, food trucks, music, swag, giveaways, specials, discounts, and opportunities to learn about the Smart and Safe Florida ballot initiative for adult use. We're thrilled to celebrate this major milestone with our 200th dispensary opening in our home state of Florida, Trulieve CEO Kim Rivers said. Since our first medical dispensary opened in 2016, Trulieve has grown to become the world's largest legal cannabis retailer. We are proud to be out front supporting expanded access to cannabis for patients and adults use through advocacy, convenient retail locations, and high-quality products, just not home grow. The new dispensary located on South Broad Street will be open 9 to 8:30 Monday through Saturday and 11 to 8 on Sundays. There's walk-in, there's a pickup. Trulieve's Brooksville Broad Street will carry a wide variety of popular products, including Trulieve's portfolio of in-house brands such as Alchemy, Colors, Cultivar Collection, Modern Flower, Momentum, Muse, Roll One, Sweet Talk, and Freckler. Customers will also have access to beloved partner brands such as Alien Labs, Bellamy Brothers, Binsky, Black Tuna, Blue River, Connected Cannabis, Delicioso, shout out to him, True Cannabis Pioneer, True Cannabis Prisoner, Khalifa Kush, Love's Oven, Miami Mango, Open, Seed Junkie, and Sunshine Cannabis, all available exclusively at True Leaf in Florida. So, True Leaf across Florida offers home delivery, convenient online ordering, and in-store pickup. Veterans receive 20% off, and first-time guests are eligible for 60% new customer discount. So while I know this sort of sounds like a press release, I want to talk just ever so briefly about how limited license markets, and specifically the way in which Florida has their license structure, has allowed True Leaf to become the largest legal cannabis retailer. So as this article started off, it indicated that no less than 139 of their 200 dispensaries, so approximately 66% of their entire footprint, is in a single state. Now, in Florida, if you get a license, you can open as many dispensaries with that license as you want. You don't have to wait for lotteries. It's not on a case-by-case basis. You're not navigating multiple local jurisdictions. And so it's no surprise and it's no coincidence that this company was able to scale to 138 stores in a single state with that single license. So I'd like to hear what my other guests and panelists have to think about A, True Leaf's footprint and store 200, and B, the impact of limited license markets and how that creates advantage for those that have the license. This is Yarrow Kubrin, High at 9 News, Monday morning.
It's like McDonald's trumpeting that they've opened their millionth store. Who gives a fuck? One more place where you can get pure trash. Hey.
Well, I guess we have a lot of the same thing going on here in Missouri where it's limited license, but they can only, it's per dispensary gets one license. But what they're finding is those people that have the money are finding a way to get a higher percentages of those licenses under different corporations. So they might not have had that initial license beginning, but they're finding a way to, purchase those. So it's a different way where it's not unlimited that with one license you can open as many as you want. It's completely different where it's 1-to-1 ratio here, and you're seeing kind of a fight. That's crazy. You obviously just see who has the most money can obviously open the most stores there, right? I mean.
Well, look. Kim's dad was a cop. Her mom was a teacher. She went to college in Tallahassee, went to law school in Tallahassee. She's a Florida girl. She didn't grow up with means, but she worked in M&A as a lawyer for many years and learned a lot of the things that got people in trouble and that made people successful. When she started that company at her kitchen table 8 years ago, they didn't have shit. They had a license that nobody wanted. All I will say is everyone's got an opinion about they're selling boof. They've gone out and headhunted. I don't know if you guys ever look at who works for them and what's going on there. Their weed's not all boof. Some of that weed's actually really good. And, I don't know if you've tried it, Mathieu St. Germain. It's easy to hate on the big players. But the one thing I will say is, knowing her, that she's doing a lot of things right. And having run a public company, I can tell you how hard that shit is. She answers to a board of directors that's very astute, and they're pushing her forward. She's actively gone out and picked people that are not yes men to work on her board and to make sure that they've got expertise. I think she's doing a lot of things right. And, is everything perfect? No, but I applaud what she's done for our industry because I think in a lot of ways, True Leaves moved the needle for us in a big way, the whole industry. So I'm not a hater at all.
Right. So talking to the level of, I appreciate that, Jamie, but I'd say talking to the level of quality in cannabis game doesn't make somebody a hater. It makes someone a realist.
No, but
an Emerald Cup flower judge. No. Please, I gave you your moment. I'm an Emerald Cup flower judge, and the reason I'm an Emerald Cup flower judge is Tim Blake smelled my weed from 30 feet away when I was smoking it at a Flocana event while I was teaching them doom and gloom as well. I understand that you're friends with this lady, and so what I would say is I issue a formal challenge. Let's sit down and have a talk and discuss complete trash True Leaves weed is, and how a lot of their business practices have actually attracted a huge amount of eyes from the regulation. Weren't they the ones also where the lady died from doing trim, if I'm not wrong? Anyway, just going back, I have no problem with anybody.
I know that whole story on both sides.
Right. So
the question to you, Matthew, is: have you smoked True Leaf weed?
Yes, it's trash. Yes, I go all over the country and all over the state of California. Whenever I do, I go into dispensaries and I spend my money that I earned buying weed right off the shelves so I can talk to bud tenders and so I can see what's actually happening at the level of the weed store that average consumers get weed from. I'm a fucking total nerd. I love weed to a really retarded level. Because of that, I know that True Leaf stuff is trash. Like I said, I'll issue a formal challenge to your friend. Have her come on this show, or let's do a side show. Let's have a debate about True Leaf's practices and what they're bringing into the market. Throw a bunch of weed in front of me, and if you can show me good weed, I'll tell you it's great. And I'll give you a quick digression. I have a little weed review show I do from time to time, and we bought Stizzy weed, and we bought it literally to trash the shit out of it because they're a big player. We thought it was going to be trash because we heard that was the word on the street, and we smoked it. It smelled amazing. Looked amazing. It tasted amazing. It got us high in the best way. And I formally apologized on my show. Said, hey, Stizzy, I didn't even get to shit talking your stuff. It was perfect. So there you go. If you can come in this space, present amazing experiences for people, I support you. It's like we lost Yarrow in our
Yeah.
Yarrow, where'd you go?
And it's back.
No, and I don't think I'm not calling you a hater because you say the weed is boof, but I think when they've got 15 brands and they're bringing in Alien Labs and they're bringing in Connected and they're bringing in Mango and Wiz Khalifa, like
Khalifa Kush's.
I'm just saying, I doubt that all of it's boof. There's probably boof for sure. I'm sure there's shitty weed there, but I doubt that every single thing is boof. But you probably got to step up and pay for it.
Understood. I think that, we have a variety of opinions on here, and I think that's why a lot of people are really into watching this, because in all of our agreements and disagreements, folks watching as well as ourselves can learn. I think there's always kind of like a space in the middle where we can come together. Let's go ahead and keep the show moving forward. I guess Jason took off without saying goodbye. On that, I would like to present my co-host here and co-correspondent, Amy. I forgot. All right, but she's CEO of the New Holland Group. She's making big moves in Europe. And take it away, Jamie. Didn't write down last names. I'm very sorry.
No worries. Yeah. Jamie Pearson for High at 9 News, coming to you from Billings, Montana. I'm going to talk today about global cannabis testing, the market forecast for 2024 to 2029. Germany and services segment commanded the largest market share in 2023. That does not surprise me at all. Okay, Dublin, this came over the newswire. The global cannabis testing market by product, chromatography, spectroscopy, consumables, software services, potency, microbial analysis, terpene profiling, heavy metal testing, pesticide screening, and end user forecasts to 2029. The report has been added to researchandmarket.com's offering. The global cannabis testing market is estimated to reach $4 billion by 2029 from US $1.8 billion in 2024, at a CAGR of 17.2% during the forecast period of 2024 to 2029. Market growth is driven by the rising legalization of medical and recreational cannabis and increased use of cannabis for medical applications. Technological advancements in testing technologies is likely to spur the market growth. However, the lack of standardization and investment risks due to regularization are some of the major factors expected to restrain the market growth during the forecast period. Product segment accounted for the highest share of 2023. Based on product and software, the cannabis testing market is broadly segmented into products, which are consumables and analytical instruments, and software. The product segment held the largest market share in 2023. Market growth is attributed to technological advancements that offer sophisticated tools for accurate analysis, ensuring compliance and quality control, and increasing legalization of cannabis drugs. Market trends such as growing requirements for potency labeling and pesticide screening further contribute to the demand for specialized consumables, driving growth in the cannabis testing market. The service end user segment held the dominant share in the cannabis testing market. Based on end users, the global cannabis testing market is segmented into product and software end users and service end users. In 2023, the service end user segment emerged as the primary driver of growth in the global cannabis testing market, exhibiting the highest CAGR throughout the forecast period. The high growth rate of this segment can be attributed to the increasing legalization of cannabis for medicinal and recreational purposes, which has fueled demand for reliable testing to ensure safety and quality, heightened consumer awareness of safety and quality, stringent regulatory standards, and advancements in testing technologies. The Europe region estimated to show the fastest growth rate. The cannabis testing market is segmented into North America, Europe, Asia Pacific, Latin America, and the Middle East and Africa. During the forecast period, Europe region is estimated to grow at the highest CAGR. The growing awareness of the medical use of marijuana and the strategic expansion of prominent players driving growth in the European market. For instance, Germany has, as of April 1st, 2024, partly decriminalized marijuana use. The legal possession and cultivation of cannabis for recreational use by adults aged 18 and over in limited quantities, as well as its consumption, is now allowed in Germany. A technical glint, and that is where, got it. This is the article that Jason sent me, and that's all it's going to show me. But we can just
Can you summarize it for those of us who have been judging and are too high?
I think we get the point that Europe's the fastest growing technical market. That doesn't surprise me at all. I've got two things to say about that, and then I want to open it up to you guys. The first thing is, I've said for the last, year that when Germany goes legal, and now that it's gone legal, I've continued to say, Germans are used to having their medicine paid for, and the majority of people in the U.S. use cannabis for medicinal reasons. You're using it for sleep, pain, anxiety. It's okay that you want to use it just to get high, but the reality is over 80% of people using cannabis report to using it for medical reasons. If that number holds true in Europe and everybody there is used to having their medicine paid for by the government, you're going to have trouble growing a recreational market when the medical markets where people are going to get the government to pay for their weed. And that is essentially what we're seeing happen, is that the medicinal market, they took it off the narcotics list. The medicinal market is blowing up a la Hims, Hers. You know those two websites where you can go to telemedicine and you can get hair growth, or you can get erectile dysfunction meds and you don't have to go to the doctor? That shit's blowing up in Germany. It's blowing up in Europe because now that cannabis is no longer a narcotic, but it's medicinal, there's a way for you to finagle the government to pay for your meds and have it tested. So it has to be EU GMP certified. So think that the cannabis is growing in a clean room, like super pharmaceutical grade. I don't know what that's going to do to the quality of the cannabis, but I will tell you that it's uber clean. Might be dead. They radiate a lot of it. So that's another topic. That's the first thing I want to say about that, is not surprising. The second thing I want to say is I have a client at New Holland Group that's called Specs AI, and what they're doing is they've got AI for growing, and they actually have this spectrography camera system that goes into these grows, and they can actually test the THC and CBD from the photos without destroying any plants. It's not them taking a picture and going, oh, the leaf is yellow. It's them actually doing the test and being able to, with accuracy, they can detect hop latent virus without destroying the plant about 14 days before a lab test would show you the hop latent virus, which means you can get infected plants out of your grow. The technology explosion that's happening in Germany is mind-blowing. So the fact that they're over there wanting to get the tests regulated and that market's growing, not surprising. Opening it up to you guys.
Okay, something came up for me. This Hims Her model And then we're talking about ED medication and medication for hair growth. I just need to say, first of all, I needed to research that in order to know that those products were even offered. I'm not a customer. But if they can come up with a pill that allows me to grow hair on my dick, like just a hybrid pill, you know, like a pube enhancer. I see all these women getting like these eyelash serums. Is there something for us guys? You know, like I want a bush. I want a man bush.
Trust me, Yarrow, you don't want that. No one's gonna create that for you.
Whoa.
I'm gonna be so hairy down there. I'm gonna start a brand called Tumbleweed.
Hey, look, you can't just do anything you want because Jason's gone. Damn it, Yarrow.
Like what's going on here?
I'm taking him to the gutter.
Rolling back. I do like that. I do like, Jamie, that you pointing out that Germany and the European countries, their health system will pay for medical cannabis, and that might keep recreational cannabis at bay a little bit. And I just think it's in so many ways when we see what Europe is doing, oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes what we'll see is they are actually leading with a lot more mature, intelligent, and compassionate thought and policy. What do you think, Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, Germany obviously is one that leads the way for Europe too. So people are going to follow their lead as well too. So I just think I love seeing the science and the technology boom. We just had the Cannabis Science Conference here in Kansas City, which was crazy to watch. And I got to get to know the people at Endless Cultivation, a tissue culture lab in Tulsa, Oklahoma, of all places. And yes, they're talking about doing
they have science in Kansas City?
Yeah, they had the conference for the Cannabis Science Conference. I had more microbiologists in one room than back in college. But
I like my biologists macro, but it's cool.
But I couldn't believe Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma has the best tissue culture lab I've seen. It's amazing. And seeing the science and everything that's going back there, cleaning the stuff. What do you think about tissue culture, Matthew?
TC and the KC. So I was very. It was only last week that Jamie educated me on the fact that Germany has home grow, and I think that's another factor in why adult use or recreational markets per se may be more limited. Not just to her point that Europeans are used to getting reimbursed for their medicine, but also if you can grow a few plants in your backyard and to use for homeostasis or just for when your homies are staying over, you may not need to have a robust adult use market because you can grow your own.
Beautiful. Let's give Yarrow the last word on that, and then we're going to roll over. I don't think we have another commercial. If we do, I'm just going to steamroller over it. We see Smoky Vanilla today, you guys?
No, but if you want to look as good as Jason Fields, you need to get a stretch and smoke with Smoky Vanilla.
Hey.
And weed for the people.
Hey. Oh, coming to the stage next is brother Brandon from B Green Distribution out in the beautiful border between the South and the Midwest, where the forest meets the other forest, I believe. He's got a beautiful saying he lives by, which is plants over pills, organics and nature over synthetics. And I agree 100%. So coming to the stage is brother Brandon. Also forgot your last name. Sorry, I'll do better next time. Anyway, Brandon.
Jones, it's a real tough one.
Brandon Jones, there it is.
Thank you, Matthew. I appreciate it. Yet I am coming from the show me state of Missouri, where, yes, we are actually killing the cannabis game here, which is crazy for most people to think that, yes, Missouri is one. But some issues we are dealing with here are taxes. So another Missouri judge approves stacking city taxes and county taxes, marijuana taxes. So, what are we talking about over there? Okay, there we go. So Buchanan County can collect a special marijuana sales tax on dispensaries within St. Joseph city limits. A judge ruled Wednesday in a second decision granting counties the right to stack taxes on top of city taxes. So basically, the circuit judge is coming back and saying, yes, you can have a double tax because state and city, we can put you on both levels. So to put it bluntly, the court cannot accept the plaintiff's interpretation of local government to prohibit the power of the county to impose such a tax within St. Joseph city limits. Kellogg wrote, the definition of local government includes both the city and the county. As such, both are authorized to impose and collect the tax. Vertical Enterprises, which is licensed for retail sales, cultivation, and marijuana products manufacturing in St. Joseph's, sued the Buchanan County Collector's Office, the Missouri Department of Revenue, and Buchanan County Clerk's Office to block enforcement of the tax. along with regular sales tax, which is in some locations approaches 12%. People purchasing the recreational use may also pay 6 additional state tax, and now 3 more if approved by voters. So holy cow, like 12, 6, 3. We're at 21% tax on top of this already. So yes, we do, like we talked about, have lots of different open agreements here, but the things that we're going on here, the ruling will cost verticals customers about $30,000 a month, said this Chris McHugh, the CEO of the company. There are 2 other dispensaries in St. Joseph, and the rest of them in tax basis would be comparable to this. So he's saying they're the ones, the customers are the ones that should be upset because they're obviously the ones that are paying for it. Statewide, consumers purchased $1.1 billion worth of cannabis in the first year of recreational use here in Missouri. This is in the millions and millions of dollars that never should be taken from consumers. McHugh said it's nothing but an anti-marijuana tax. McHugh said he will appeal Kellogg's decision. And MoCannaTrade, the industry's lobbying organization, said in a statement from the executive director, Andrew Mullins, that excessive taxes on marijuana drive customers into the underground, unregulated market. So since October 1st, Missouri cannabis customers have been paying roughly $3 million more than each month than what Missouri Constitution requires, Mullins said. Drafters of the amendment legalizing cannabis would want to prevent stacking, so they would use the broad term local government for the entity authorized to impose a tax. To make it apply to both cities and counties, the term was defined as meaning a village, town, or city for incorporated areas and counties for unincorporated places. But the Revenue Department, interpreting the new tax law, told local governments that county marijuana taxes may be stacked, making the local tax rate on marijuana purchases 6% in places where the county and city voters have approved the levy. I could keep going, but I'm already sick about it, so I think we already get the gist of this story. Like, yes, now on top of one tax, on top of another tax, we're going to add a third tax. There's already a pretty wide disparity in the legacy market and the regulated market as far as pricing is concerned. And so, I mean, this is just, like you said, another reason that we're driving prices up, and I don't understand it. But love to hear you guys' take.
So, Brandon, the craziest thing is with all of those stacked taxes at 21%, we're still at a huge cost savings in California's legal market. I think we're plus 27% now to the retail customer on all products. It's just, it's ridiculous.
A portion of ours does go to the veterans as well, too. I'm very proud that they did write that into the law. So there is a big portion of that does go back to help the veterans, but I guess it's all relative, right? Depending on where you're at. That's what we're finding out in every state. It's all.
Well, and veterans are the kind of thing you write it in and everybody goes, oh, rah, rah to the veterans. But unless there's a real compassion program built into these markets, they're not helping the veterans. They're taxing, they're creating infrastructure, they're charging them, they're billing themselves to run those infrastructures, to then have a percentage of that money go to veterans. What veterans need is no-cost cannabis and compassion programs. If we really want to thank veterans for their service, giving them a break on something that's already overtaxed is not the same as really creating a method where we can let them not pay for something that ideally can help them after they've served everybody else.
Yeah. The Veterans Community Project here, they have locations here in Kansas City. They make tiny home villages for the veterans when they come back. And they do have cannabis programs where they teach their residents, and then they actually get them a medical card at no cost if they've taken Cannabis 101 and 102. And they've even built hempcrete dog houses on the property. And so they're very involved in the community here. And one of my friends, Waxy Brown, who is himself a veteran, is also working on what you're talking about, a compassionate program, trying to get free access to veterans versus, like you're saying, going to a fund.
If Waxy Brown wants to call me, I can get some of those pills and Waxy can get some hair back, because waxing too much means you're not furry at all.
I just realized that we got 2 minutes left, and I've got a story too.
Fire away, Matthew.
Up into the stage is Mathieu St. Germain, a normally polite, weed-loving hobbit from the North Bay. And he loves to share his stories about psychedelics, so please, take it away, Mr. St. Germain. Thank you, Mr. Psychedelics treat depression? Maybe. You might not even have to take a trip. Approximately 72,000 patients in the U.S. were given Auvelity last year. Haven't heard of it? That's because it's a drug. This goes back to Robitussin, which has been a staple of American pharmacies since the 1940s. Since the 60s, people have swigged bottles of this cough medicine recreationally because at a high enough dose, its active ingredient, dextromethorphan, can cause hallucinations, known as robotripping, actually related to PCP and ketamine. Now, that ingredient, common to many cough medications, has been used as an antidepressant of all things. In recent years, studies have found that conventional antidepressants are only marginally more effective than biologically inactive placebo. Meanwhile, big pharmaceutical companies conduct very little research into mental health drugs. Researchers and sufferers have instead placed their hopes in psychedelic drugs usually considered hallucinatory, such as psilocybin or LSD. Yet the evidence of their effectiveness as an antidepressant comes from small trials. Against this backdrop, a legitimate drug company has quietly moved dextromethorphan beyond robotripping into a legally approved depression treatment with an important twist. Axsome Therapeutics markets a drug called Auvelity, which combines dextromethorphan with a drug that negates the hallucinations. So, people need to have therapeutic outcomes, says Robin Carhart Harris, a professor of neurology and psychiatry at the University of California, San Francisco. He prefers to use the word trip rather than hallucination to describe the experience that follows taking psychedelics. Researchers in several labs have shown the intensity of the trip when taking these drugs is probably the strongest predictor of improved symptoms in conditions such as depression. And if the FDA approval process has worked for Auvelity, it may refute Carhart Harris's assertion. Man, I'm high today, guys. Tripping might benefit some patients, but it could be too risky for people whose mental health is precarious or simply too expensive or inconvenient for most people. Was the need for tripping over? Auvelity has tested that question by accident. Its conception was unrelated to robotripping. The company decided to act on clues from animal tests that dextromethorphan might work as an antidepressant. Normally, the body metabolizes dextromethorphan too quickly into a psychedelic drug. They added bupropion, a known antidepressant, to slow the metabolism of the DXM. They did this, they found non-psychedelic antidepressive effects. So this highlights what's happening in a lot of areas of psychedelic medicine, which is trying to unpair the psychedelic effects with the brain protective and neurogenetic, neurogenesis and neuroplastic effects of these drugs, meaning like neurogenesis is growing new axons in neurons, neuroplasticity is ability for new networks to form. And while on one side, I totally support this and the need for these positive changes, people whose psychology is not strong enough or for whatever trauma or other reasons they can't take the trip. At the same time, I think that this is we need to approach this road with caution because it highlights the issue of turning these amazing teaching substances into something that's just used to mediate corporate slavery, as well as continued bone-crushing forward assault of the hegemonic military-industrial complex of the United States. And I think instead of constantly thanking our soldiers and getting them drugs to heal their PTSD from the horrible shit they were subjected to, we should instead apologize to them and stop sending them to murder people to steal their resources. And secondarily, we should look at all of these drugs and their messages as an opportunity to reflect on and gain new perspectives on how we're navigating the world, instead of to just round the sharp corners again of corporate and institutional slavery that the majority of human beings are forced to undergo on this planet. We're interested to hear what you guys have to say. Germain taking over the High at 9 News on a Friday. Go for it, guys.
Well, okay, fine. I'll go for it. So I don't think that trip and hallucinogen are synonymous with each other. There's plenty of people who have tripped without seeing things. And then I just keep thinking they're like trying to take all the fun out of it. It's like that saccharin, like it's sweet, but it's not sugar. It don't taste good. So I don't understand. I mean, I guess there's a percentage of the population that wants therapeutic effects without the journey, but I'm not sure that that's really where we need to focus this research. it seems like they're just trying to neuter the positive opportunities that could come from trying things the way nature intended them, or at least designed them or made them. I'd rather see those resources allocated towards robust clinical trials of existing plant medicine versus saying, oh, we took the trip out of the tripper, we took the hallucinogen out of the hallucinogens, and now because we've done that, we've patented it and we've made it more palatable for everybody. And it just feels like it's the effects of a big pharma way of thinking as they're approaching plant medicine. But that's just my 1.5 cents.
Well, I'm going to add one thing and then I got to jump, but I did mushrooms in Jamaica one time, and it was a gummy that this woman in Jamaica made where she said she removed the part of the mushroom tonic that makes you nauseous. And it was really the most pleasant mushroom trip I've ever had. I didn't get nauseous. It was so smiley and fun. And so while I understand you want to do clinical trials with the plant medicine the way it grows naturally, I will tell you that was the best psychedelic experience I had ever had, because that one unpleasant element was removed. So I do think that there's ways to improve upon nature, that being my case in point. But I've got a dip. I've got a call that I'm 3 minutes late for.
Have a great day, Jamie.
Bye, everybody.
Again, what do you think, brother?
Minority, because I like microdosing much better than actually going on a trip, because I like control of I don't do well with not being in control of what my thoughts are. Maybe that's probably why I should do a full. What do you think, Matthew?
If you need to, you can come out here and you can sit with Jason, Yarrow, and I. We got you. It looks like we're turning into like one of those murder mysteries where slowly another correspondent gets picked off mysteriously every few minutes. So I'm going to sign off. It was great doing the show today with you, everybody. This is Brandon Jones, B Green Distribution. I'm going to make this really short. We really love and appreciate everybody who watches, who likes, who subscribes, who jumps in on the chat. Y'all are hilarious. We hope to see you Monday. Hope you have a great weekend. Just on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, etc. And so for the whole team here, Jason Beck, who's speeding north to meet me for Emerald Cup flower judging this week, we just want to say thanks you. We love you and have a terrific Friday. That's all for us. Hit the button.
It's Monday.